She said I was ruining the neighborhood. Next thing I knew, there were men digging a trench around my fence. I stood there, still holding my coffee, watching dirt fly into the air as if it was her own backyard they were tearing up. "Ma'am, this is my property line," I told her. But Karen just smiled that tight fake smile, the kind that says I run this place. "You'll thank me later," she said. The HOA voted. "Your fence doesn't match community standards." I looked at the trench getting deeper, wider. My old border collie barked from the porch, nervous. I could feel my jaw tighten. "Funny," I said, "since there is no HOA vote without the owner present." Her face stiffened. "We don't need your permission, Tom. The board already approved it." She loved saying my name like that, sharp, like a warning. But I didn't move. I didn't yell. I just let her keep talking, digging herself into a hole deeper than the one her crew was making in my yard. "The truth is, I built that fence myself after my wife passed. Every board, every nail. It wasn't about looks. It was about keeping something safe. Something ours. But Karen didn't care about that. She cared about control. She wanted everyone scared of her clipboard and her fake rules. I took a step closer and whispered, "You just made a big mistake." She laughed. "What are you gonna do? Call the cops?" I smiled back. "No," I said quietly. "I train them." Her laugh froze mid-breath, and for the first time, she stopped smiling. She came back the next morning like she owned the sun, holding a clipboard and a cup of latte that wasn't even half full. Her trench crew was gone, but the damage was there. Muddy lines cutting through my yard like scars. "You've got 24 hours to remove the fence," she said, "or we'll fine you $1,000 per day." I didn't even blink. "That's funny," I said, "since you can't fine a man who's not part of your HOA. Her pen stopped mid-air. "Excuse me?" I handed her a folded paper. "County records," I said. "My land was never annexed into your HOA. This lot is separate, legally and by survey." She looked at the document, eyes moving fast. I could see the color drain from her face, but she wasn't done. "We'll see what the sheriff says about that," she snapped, turning away. She shouldn't have said that. Because 2 hours later, a white SUV with flashing lights rolled up my driveway. A man stepped out wearing a badge, only I knew that badge. It was wrong. "Sir," he said, "we got reports of a hostile homeowner threatening the HOA president." Karen stood behind him, arms crossed, smirking like a villain in a cheap drama. "That's him," she said. I raised my hand slowly, not out of fear, but calculation. "You sure you're a cop?" I asked. He blinked. "Of course I am." I stepped closer, close enough to see the badge number etched wrong, the patch mismatched. I'd trained real officers for 12 years. SWAT tactics, verification drills. This guy was a prop. "Then you won't mind if I radio dispatch to confirm your ID," I said. He froze. Karen's smile faltered. "Go ahead," she said weakly. But I already had my phone in hand, camera rolling. Because the thing about Karen was, she didn't know who she was playing with, and this time, I wasn't just defending a fence. I was defending a line she was about to cross for the last time. The fake officer's eyes darted toward Karen, then to his car. I caught that flicker of panic right before he muttered something under his breath and started backing away. Karen tried to cover it up, stepping forward, waving her clipboard like it was a badge of its own. "Stop recording," she barked. "You can't film HOA enforcement." I almost laughed. "HOA enforcement?" I said. "You hired a man pretending to be a cop to trespass on private property. You sure you want to keep talking?" Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The fake cop turned and bolted for his car. I didn't chase him. I didn't need to. The camera caught everything. The plate, the uniform, the badge number. I turned the screen toward her. "You know what this means, right?" She took a shaky step back. "You don't scare me." "Good," I said. "Because fear isn't what you'll feel next." That's when my neighbor, old Mr. Reynolds, came out from his porch holding his phone. "Tom," he said, "you might want to see this." He played a video Karen at last week's HOA meeting. She was bragging, loud enough for everyone to hear, saying she had friends in law enforcement who could make problems disappear. The whole neighborhood was listening now. Curtains shifted, doors cracked open. Karen's fake power started to crumble right there on the lawn. "You don't understand," she stammered. "I was just trying to protect the neighborhood," I cut in, "by digging a trench around a vet's home and hiring an impersonator." Her face went pale. She looked around, realizing every phone in sight was aimed at her. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We know who she hired. Check your gate camera. I looked up, and for the first time it wasn't Karen I was worried about, because whoever sent that message knew way too much. I walked to the gate, the evening light fading just enough to turn everything orange and uneasy. The trench still cut around the fence like a wound, but my motion sensor was blinking red. Someone had been there. I pulled the footage on my phone, and what I saw made my stomach twist. It wasn't just Karen. There were two men in dark jackets the night before, lifting my fence panels, measuring, talking to someone on speaker. One of them said, "He won't last long if we do it tonight." Karen's voice replied, "Just make it look official." I paused the video and zoomed in on one of the men's faces. I knew that face. I'd seen it once, years ago, at a local training session for private security. A guy who'd bragged about working for neighborhood enforcement teams, the kind that got paid off by HOAs to do dirty work quietly. I turned, and Karen was still standing near the trench, phone in hand, pretending to scroll like nothing happened. "You really went this far?" I asked. She looked up, cold and collected now. "You think this is about a fence? You're sitting on property the HOA's been trying to acquire for years. You're the last one holding out. So you thought scaring me would make me sell?" She smiled, slow and sharp. "Everyone has a price, Tom." I stepped closer, keeping my voice low. "Yeah, but not everyone's for sale." Right then, headlights swung into the driveway. A black SUV stopped by the gate, the same one from the footage. Karen's smirk returned. "You might want to put that phone away now. Things are about to get official." The door opened, and one of the men from the video stepped out. But this time, he wasn't wearing a fake uniform. He had a county badge, a real one. "Evening, sir," he said, his voice flat. "We need you to come with us for questioning. HOA filed a report for harassment and property damage." Karen crossed her arms behind him, smiling like she'd already won, and for a second I almost believed she had. But then I remembered the text. "We know who she hired, whoever sent it. Might be my only way out." The man flashed his badge again, but I didn't move. My mind was racing, every word, every detail of that video, the unknown text, the timing of his arrival. Karen stood behind him like a shadow that finally found its sunlight. "Sir," he said again, hand near his belt. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." I lifted my phone slowly. "Then maybe you should take a look at this before you put cuffs on the wrong guy." He hesitated. I hit play. The footage of him from last night working the trench with Karen's hired men, the shovel in his hand, the whisper about doing it tonight. His jaw tightened. "Where did you get this?" He asked quietly. "Gate cam," I said. "The same one your crew didn't see?" Karen's smirk disappeared. "That's fake," she snapped. "He's been editing videos to make me look bad." "Enough," he muttered, glancing back at her. For the first time, his voice had a crack of real anger. Then my phone buzzed again. Another text. "Play the second clip." I opened it. It was live footage. Someone was watching through my security system, and the camera angle was from across the street, inside an unmarked car. It showed Karen, the fake cop, and this man all meeting last week in a diner. Karen was handing them envelopes. The officer's face went pale. "Who the hell is sending you this?" I looked around. That's what I'd like to know. Before anyone could speak, another car pulled up. This one black and white, lights flashing. Real deputies stepped out. "County Sheriff's Office," one called. "We received reports of police impersonation and extortion related to this address." Karen's face drained of color. She tried to walk away, but one of the deputies stopped her. "Ma'am, stay right there." The fake cop didn't move. The one with the real badge stepped back, hands raised, silent. I finally exhaled, slow. "Guess your friends in law enforcement just met the real ones," I said. But as they cuffed her, my phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. "You're welcome." But this isn't over. She's just a pawn. My hands went cold. Whoever was helping me wasn't doing it out of kindness. The night air was heavy with the sound of police radios and engines idling. Karen sat in the back of a cruiser shouting about board rights and lawyer calls, but nobody was listening anymore. The deputies were too busy sorting out which badge was real, which one was bought, and why there were surveillance tapes of an HOA president paying off county officers. I stood near my porch light, staring at the text thread on my phone. That unknown number was still there, just a gray circle with no name, no location. I typed back, "Who are you?" No reply. Then a minute later, my security feed flickered again. The trench camera, the one facing the property line, zoomed itself in, like someone remote accessed it. On the screen, a face appeared. Not Karen. Not one of the fake cops. It was a man in a black jacket standing in the trench staring straight into the lens. Then he spoke. "You don't remember me, do you, Tom?" My chest tightened. His voice. I hadn't heard it in years. "Daniel?" I whispered. He smiled faintly through the pixelated feed. "You trained me once. Back when you still worked tactical units. I told you one day I'd outrank you. It hit me like a punch. Daniel Pierce, ex-trainee. Dismissed for misconduct and falsifying IDs. I testified against him when he tried to join the sheriff's department." He continued. "Karen was easy. Just needed someone desperate enough to sign a few fake HOA papers. The land deal's mine now." I stepped forward, gripping the phone. "You think you're getting this land?" "Not happening." "Oh, it's already happening," he said. "County approved the expansion this morning. You're standing on what's about to be community property. I just needed you to resist, to make it look legal when we take it." The feed cut out, static, then silence. I stood there, cold and still, as the last police car rolled away with Karen yelling from the back seat. She thought she was the villain, but she was just a decoy, and the real fight was about to begin. The next morning, the trench was half filled with rainwater, and the whole yard smelled like wet dirt and betrayal. I barely slept. Spent the night replaying that video in my head, Daniel's voice echoing in the dark. The county approved his community expansion. That meant paperwork, and paperwork always left fingerprints. I drove straight to the county records office. The clerk, a tired man who looked like he'd seen every scam in the book, typed my address and frowned. "Huh, this was updated yesterday," he said. "New HOA annexation papers. Signed by a Daniel Pierce, authorized under Neighborhood Integrity Initiative." "Authorized by who?" I asked. He squinted at the screen. "Acting County Liaison for Property Redevelopment." My stomach dropped. Daniel had gotten inside the system. He wasn't just using fake cops now, he was the system. I leaned in.
"Can you print that file?"
He hesitated, then looked around and slid it from the printer. "You didn't get this from me." Back home, I spread the papers across my workbench. His signature was all over them. But there was something else. Footage requests, property photos, time-stamped logs from my own cameras. He'd hacked my system weeks ago. He knew every move I made. I sat there for a long minute, the hum of the fridge the only sound in the house. Then I smiled, slow and grim. "You think you know everything," I whispered. "You forgot who taught you." That afternoon, I set up my gear. Hidden cameras, motion alerts, and one surprise Daniel wouldn't expect. A private live stream directly to the county sheriff's server. If he came for the land again, he'd be walking into evidence. Just as the sun dipped, I saw movement by the gate. Daniel, in that same black jacket, walking slow, confident. "Evening, Tom," he called. "Ready to hand over the property?" I stepped onto the porch, calm as stone. "Sure," I said. "But you might want to smile for the camera first." His grin faltered. "What camera?" The gate lights clicked on, every angle lit up, red recording dots blinking like eyes. "This one," I said, and about 20 others streaming straight to the sheriff's office. For the first time, he didn't move. Then a slow smirk crept back onto his face. "You think this ends with one recording?" he said. "You still don't get it, Tom. This land is worth more than your life." And as he said that, I heard the low rumble of engines behind him, 2 more black SUVs pulling up. He wasn't bluffing this time. The engines roared closer, tires crunching over gravel and broken roots. Daniel stood in front of them like he was leading a small army. The SUVs stopped just short of the trench. Men stepped out, 3 of them, all dressed in private security uniforms, no badges, just blank patches and dark glasses even though the sun was almost gone. Daniel called out, "We can do this easy, Tom. Sign the transfer." "And you walk away," I kept my voice steady. "You really think I'd give you my land because you brought muscle?" He shrugged. "Everyone breaks eventually." I clicked the remote in my pocket. Behind me, my porch light flickered twice, the signal that the sheriff's live stream was active. Every word being broadcasted straight to the county's evidence database. Daniel didn't notice. He gestured toward the trench. "Boys, finish it." They started toward the fence with shovels and crowbars. That's when the sound of sirens cut through the air, Real ones, loud, close. Daniel turned sharply. What the? 3 sheriff cruisers came flying down the road, lights blinding the driveway. The men froze mid-step. Deputies spilled out, weapons drawn, commanding everyone to get down. Daniel's confidence shattered in an instant. "This is a mistake," he yelled. "I work with the county." One of the deputies stepped forward. "Not anymore, you don't. We've got your voice on a live recording threatening a homeowner and falsifying documents." I watched him drop to his knees, fury in his eyes, shouting as they cuffed him. "You set me up, old man." I walked closer, calm as a quiet storm. "No," I said. "You set yourself up the moment you touched my land." Karen's car was still parked by the curb, abandoned. One of the deputies opened the trunk. Inside were envelopes of cash and property contracts, all tied back to Daniel's fake company. The whole thing was a land grab scheme, built on intimidation and forged signatures. When the last cruiser drove away with him screaming in the back, I finally looked at that trench again. The dirt, the mess, the fence half broken but still standing. My neighbor walked over, hands in his pockets. "You gonna rebuild it?" he asked. I smiled faintly. "Yeah," I said. "But not just the fence," he tilted his head. "What do you mean?" "I'm rebuilding everything they thought they could take." He nodded, quiet. "Good man." As the night settled in, I set the new boards in place, one by one, under the porch light. The flag at the corner of the yard swayed in the soft wind. "I didn't fight for this country," I said softly, "to be told I can't own a piece of it." And for the first time in weeks, the air felt still, like justice had finally remembered my address.